So are you a real estate investor? Maybe you're just getting started out, or maybe you are an advanced investor. I want to talk about the impact of having the banker's mindset and asking the question, do investors go into the process or build their real estate empire simply by having a mindset of a banker's mindset or having the mindset of the borrower's mindset? Because this is very, very important. Because as I continue to interview real estate investors, one of the many things that I am finding is that investors have a borrower's mindset. Now, why do I say that? Because too often, when they go into purchasing the next property, they look like, or they feel like, or their attitude is that they're going to ask the bank to do them a favor. When in fact, when a loan is approved, the borrower is actually doing the lender a huge favor because of the massive profits that the lender is going to make. So the question is how do we then look at this process going from a borrower's mindset to the banker's mindset? And what's the advantage of that? So one of the things that I wanted to talk about is the fact that the borrower's mindset, when you are looking to get your next loan, regardless if it's your first loan, your fifth loan, or your 10th loan, the question is, are you going in as a partner or are you going in as a borrower? Because as a borrower, you are at risk of overpaying for the mortgage. You are at risk of having to ask your tenants for more money than what markets are allowing. It puts the borrower or slash investor at risk of potentially cost overruns they're not prepared for, and other types of expenses simply because they purchased their mortgage the wrong way. Versus the banker's mindset. The banker's mindset, they go in with a much different perspective. As a matter of fact, one of the things that we teach our investors is a mindset where they're looking to double their property equity position. They're looking regardless of market conditions. So they're not waiting on the market to adjust to create the appreciation that they want. They actually create forced appreciation where they're utilizing a blend of strategies to create appreciation even in a declining marketplace. Now, this is pretty powerful when an investor can be proactive and progressive and is positioning themselves to take advantage of an opportunity even when the market is working against them. The other piece of that is to be able to double their cash reserves without concern for market losses or taxes. What I'm seeing again is how real estate investors go into real estate investing or buying their next property again from a traditional mindset where they think that the whole idea is to use debt to leverage into the next property to create what? Profit. Well, that's not the only way to create profit. The real estate investor has to think from a 21st century perspective and to take cash reserves and build cash reserves as an extension of property appreciation and collecting rents from tenants. But what the investor needs to learn how to do is to build that cash reserves. We call it forced appreciation, where we want to be able to take a property, utilize the equity that is within that property, while maintaining the same budget without hurting the investor, without putting themselves in a financial bind. We want to take that equity and we want to put it into an index universal life product. Now, there's some other steps in here that we don't have time to get into, but you want to do this in a responsible way so that you have reserves and backup just in case things don't go favorable or something comes up, which in real estate investing, you need to prepare that things will come up. As I may mention, you will have cost overrides. You will have tenants that don't pay. You will have expenses that come up. As a matter of fact, those three talking points right there need to be considered when you are evaluating your budget and considering the kinds of reserve you need when things go wrong. So again, as an investor, we want to be proactive. We want to position ourselves to do what? We want to double the equity position, and we want to double the cash reserves. So as we are utilizing the equity to create cash reserves, we want to do what? If you've been watching some of my other videos, we want to do what with that cash reserves? We want to create interest. We want to create cash reserves. We want to create profit, and we want to create the velocity of money from the reserves itself and from the debt, the actual debt that you're utilizing to build your cash reserves. This is such an important aspect of real estate investing that is overlooked in most cases, because building of cash reserves is not made priority from a traditional perspective. And this gets a lot of investors in trouble, because most of the time, real estate investors, even when they bought a property that they shouldn't have purchased, if you have enough cash reserves, you can strategically offset that in many cases and restructure your deal if you have cash reserves. But if you don't have cash reserves, especially if you're dependent upon credit cards and lines of credit and it's running out, you can find yourself in a huge financial hole. So an extension of avoiding falling into this trap is building the cash reserves as you're building out your real estate profile. This is critical. What this does, this reduces the risk to the investor. And when it is done properly, especially when you get to the phases of creating interest, cash reserves, and cash flow, now you have an actual income stream that you can use to pay your expenses, buy more real estate, and so forth. But we want to learn the art and science of forced appreciation. We don't want to have to wait on market conditions. We don't want to have to wait for properties to be sold. We don't want to have to wait on the things that normally go into waiting for appreciation. We want to force appreciation by getting those dollars from the equity into interest-bearing accounts that are liquid and are available and that can be used, especially with an arbitrage. What that simply means is that when you have an arbitrage, you are able to use the money while at the same time it continues to grow despite the fact that you are using this money. This is one of the most powerful super secrets in the real estate investors community that is not being used often enough. This is a great way of building cash reserves while using their money at the same time. When we understand this and we know how to create profit from those situations, when you've taken those dollars and maybe you purchased another property and you've created some profit from that, now that you have even more profit, you can duplicate that process over when you're using an arbitrage to do it, because the arbitrage itself is going to continue to create interest when there is interest crediting on that particular process. Forced appreciation, ladies and gentlemen, forced property equity appreciation, it can be a powerful tool when it is done correctly. If you have a story that you want to share about forced appreciation, share that with me. I'd like to learn from you. If you have a question regarding this, you can let me know that as well. I have a free report available on this topic on forced appreciation and learning the art and science of doubling your equity position while you are expanding and building your real estate empire. If this has been of help to you, hey, take a minute, like my page, like this video, and maybe share it with another investor who may be considering something like this or would like to consider this from a perspective of looking outside the box. Because those investors that are one-dimensional, that are only looking at the flipping of a property or waiting for tenants to pay the bill to expand their real estate empire, that is the 20th century way, and it's very slow. Learning how to utilize forced appreciation can be a powerful tool of expanding your real estate profile faster, especially when it's done and safer, especially when it's done the right way. And there is a right way and a wrong way to do this. So, hey, listen, if this has been of value, let me know. Take a moment, register for my next class, order the free report, and let's talk more. Let's dig deeper into this and let's go into the power of forced appreciation and not having to wait for your property value to increase, but to build your capital reserves, your property equity value in an artificial way where you can control a lot of factors that go into this strategy. Listen, Jeff Taylor here, your financial strategist. I'm looking forward to seeing you soon. Let's talk. You have a great day.